Okay. So here we are again with the new Back Porch Herbal video, this time on liver alterative herbs. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside. I've done this a few times. My video keeps crapping out on me, so we'll see if we can just streamline this again like we had to do the last time. Again, this is just for educational purposes. If you are seeing a doctor for anything, please consult with your doctor, medical professional of some kind, naturopath, herbalist, before using any of the herbs I'm going to talk about. If you're pregnant or wanting to become pregnant, again, check with them before using these. Herbs are medicine. If you're already taking medicines, this could interfere with it, so you need to talk to your medical professional before using any herbs, adding any of it to your daily regimen. So, in any event, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the liver. It's the largest organ in the body, and basically, it plays an essential role in maintaining health. Again, getting rid of waste, assimilating things into the body. The liver plays a big role in that. It cleanses, purifies, and detoxifies the blood. The liver alterative herbs and plants aid in digestion with their bitter quality, stimulating digestion while neutralizing gastric acids and promoting bile to remove toxins from the body. Again, that's the issue behind it. They can be used for conditions associated with liver malfunction, chronic diseases, hormone issues, skin problems, nervous system issues, reproductive, all of it. And it's my belief that, again, that if you cleanse the master cleanse system, the liver, you can deal with a lot of issues and head them off before they get worse. And you end up in a doctor's office with the notion that you're chronically ill. That's what I did, and I was ill with rheumatoid arthritis. It basically exploded, and for about 13 years I was severe. And I used cannabis concentrates. After 2.5 months, I was in clinical remission, and so that was in 2011. In March, I went into remission, and I've been in remission ever since. And I have gone back to the herbal roots because by the time the RA got so severe, the herbs weren't helping. I had to go with allopathic medicine, which did nothing. And had I known that cannabis was going to cure me, basically, and get me into remission at least, I would have done it right away, but I didn't. And it took until 2010 for me to figure that out. So I was sick for a long time. But that got me level, and now I use just a microdosing of that plus herbal stuff that I create, tinctures and tea blends and whatnot, to stay in remission, and I have. So I know that it works, but again, you're really dealing with ground force stuff, and that was my focus. Once I got into the remission, it's like, okay, what do I need to look at here that keeps the ground floor that I've gotten to maintained, all right? And these 5 herbs can help you do that. Now, we'll talk about infusion and decoction as we talk about these things. Dandelion is basically you gather the leaf in the spring and the summer months. You dig the root before spring really starts, and also in the fall when the energy's going to it. You would infuse the leaf, which is pouring hot water over it and letting it steep covered for at least 15 minutes in a cup, or in a French press or mason jar, you're going to go 20 to 30 minutes. Or if it's the root, you're going to decoct that. You're going to simmer it. You're not going to boil it. I use lukewarm water. You can use cold, and let it come and put your roots in, either dried or fresh. Let it come to a simmer. Do not boil again. Cover it. Have it covered. And then let it simmer for like 20 to 30 minutes. And you can strain it and drink it as is. Or you can use that simmering mixture and use it instead of the, boring hot water you normally pour over herbs to infuse them. But say you've got some more herbs in the French press or a mason jar or what have you. You can use that decocted liquid from the dandelion root and pour it over the herbs and let it infuse that way. But again, if you've got the bigger amounts, 20, 30 minutes is useful. Otherwise, 15 minutes in a cup is plenty. A dandelion leaf, they can also be used in salads and all of that, but the spring ones, the young ones, I wouldn't use the bigger ones. Those are a little bit too much, I think. But the sweet and mild flavor that it has, it blends well with other herbs, and no matter what they are. And so I like dandelion for that reason. And my husband knows not to use any herbicide at all on them. So Let yours know too. Anyway, because like, no, don't touch my dandelions. Red clover's the next one, Trifolium praetens, and it's a wonderful herb that treats liver imbalances, skin disorders, respiratory complaints, reproductive issues. It has an anti-tumor effect, apparently. It's versatile. We combine it with other herbs. It's a staple, like dandelion, in all of my teas. Particularly my hot flash teas. I gather the whole plant to share with my chickens, as my nose is running here. Throughout the summer months, they devour that in minutes. But they get the extra vitamins and minerals from it. You know, red clover fixes nitrogen in the soil, so it's almost like a green manure. You can turn it under and stuff like that as a green manure. But I infuse the fresh flowers during the growing season because there's nothing like them, along with dandelion leaf, nettles, plantain, and other fresh herbs I gather from the yard. I call it my yard tea. Take my French press out and just gather everything from the grass and make a nice tea for the morning. And my husband even looks forward to it. One caution about the red clover, though, if you have blood clotting issues, you probably don't want to use it because it has a blood thinning aspect to it. Check with your doctor, though, and see, you know, if you can, occasionally. But if not, then, you know, don't worry about it. Yellow dock is another one. You use the root, Rumex crispus. Use a fork or a digging knife to dig your roots, dig around the area so that you can just pull them out. A fork is great for that. Loosens up the dirt really well without really disturbing the plant. So if it's a root that you're just going to take a portion off of, you can just plant the originating plant right back in the ground, and it lives. So a fork is a great tool to use in that regard. But it's one of those waste plants that grows along ditches, and so you want to get it in an area that's not going to be subject to any kind of sprays or exhausts or things like that, though. And when you do, I tend to slice mine vertically. I'll cut them in sections and slice it because they're usually pretty tough. But the outer skin is dark, the inner flesh is white or yellowish. You'll find a picture of them I did a blog post on this at Stepping Aside, and I'll include a link to that below the video, so you can see that and what they look like. But they can be dried or used fresh. It doesn't really matter. But decoct them, simmer them, bring them to a simmer. They purify the blood, promotes the formation of bile to improve digestion. And again, it's beneficial as a laxative, and it's also been shown to help treat and balance menstrual issues. Again, keeping the liver balanced and toned and nourished and functioning properly is the ground floor for everything else, at least in my opinion. Whenever my body feels sluggish, I'll particularly coming out of the winter months, I'll decoct dandelion and yellow dock roots, and then pour that over nettle and dandelion leaf, plantain, usually the diuretic herbs, cleavers and chickweed too. I'll add into that. We won't talk about those today, though. We'll do that in another time. It flushes toxins and improves my health and disposition. So also it works well as a poultice too. Useful for skin eruptions and other skin disorders. So you can pulverize it up and wet it and use it as a poultice. I'm going to do one of these on poultices too because I just love them. I'm a great believer in poultices, and when we get to that video, I'll explain why. Plantain, either in its broadleaf or skinny leaf form, is Rosemary Gladstar says it's the best herbs, one of the best herbs for poultices of all kinds. It's also an important herb for treating blood toxicity and blood poisoning, and is generally used both internally and externally for that purpose. So again, you can take and you can smack it around and bring the liquid up and slap it on a bee sting, or you can munch it up and pulverize it in a mortar and pestle, or chew it up and spit it out, whatever you want to do, and put it on something on an abrasion or a bee sting or insect bite or whatever, and that'll draw the poisons and inflammation out and all of that, and it'll heal it. But I do recommend using it in teas because, again, you want that same blood purifying type of and liver balancing and nourishing and cleansing type of experience with plantain. Keep some dry. Gather enough during the summer months to have it dry for emergency use. If you have a poultice you need to make, you can do that. although fresh really is better. Uh, and then lastly, did we talk about everything? I guess we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So nettles, hopefully we can get this to finish out before it freezes on me. Oh my God. Nettles, Urtica dioica, I've never known how to pronounce it. I screw it up every time, but urtica is the first part of it. Nettles, stinging nettle, yes, the stuff you don't want to touch with your bare hands, although I do. I actually have to put this in seed form. So I get my herbal seeds from my herb seeds from Strictly Medicinals, and all that's here in Oregon. Herbalist owns it, and he's great. But anyway, I'll leave a link to that too, so you can see that. In case you have to, chickweed I had to replant too, so I had to do cleavers as well. But then when I did that, it stimulated it growing. It was weird. But anyway, if you have ducks around, you probably want to protect your nettle if you have it growing. Mine ate mine to the ground. I was just in shock. They leveled it. So now I've got all this stuff over the top of it. It looks ridiculous, but I don't care. Anyway, you can stir fry them, the spring ones, the new ones, with other greens, or use them in teas and tinctures. Well, at all times you can, not just the spring ones, but nettle in tinctures and teas. I make an actual simple tincture out of it. And I just add it, to. I also have it in my RA tincture that I formulated, along with other things, cat's claw and stuff like that, anti-rheumatic drugs. But you'll find a lot of the anti-rheumatic drug or anti-rheumatic herbs, rather, not drugs, but anti-rheumatic herbs are actually liver herbs as well. So you'll see that again, getting things moving through the body. That's really, really important. So as a tonic, now they're chock full of minerals and vitamins. I believe they're really high. If I remember right, they're high in vitamin C, one of the highest in vitamin C. I think I remember that from Andrew Weil, said that years ago. I heard him say that. Let's see, it purifies the blood. It relieves allergy symptoms, believe it or not. My husband used to take powdered nettle root that was freeze-dried. And it was Andrew Weil's suggestion. He was suggesting to take that. After a couple of months, it was controlling his allergy symptoms. He could actually feel it after he'd take it within an hour, so he could feel his sinuses clearing. So I know that it works. But it's useful for arthritis conditions as well, and that's why I include it in my RA tincture I formulate. It's also good to make a tea out of it, an infusion out of it, and then use it as a hair rinse. It's reportedly stimulates hair growth, and it's also really healthy for your hair, even if it doesn't happen to stimulate any hair growth for you. At least it's really great for your hair, to nourish the hair. Again, fresh or dried, best fresh always, but do what you got to do. You're not going to have it growing in the wintertime around here where I live. You live in more temperate climates, though, you will. So just use everything fresh if you can. Use gloves, and unless you're a lunatic like me. And I just use I have a bowl and scissors, and I cut them, and I try to let them fall into the bowl. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have to help it, or I'll grab. Even just the tip of the leaf is going to leave your fingers a little numb. So, but I love them. I have a big pot growing on my deck alongside a couple pots of cleavers and a couple pots of chickweed. I have them growing other places too, but on my deck with my flowers, with my other, ornamental things that I have growing. Because I like to just walk out there and get it, right? And it's just easier. And I don't have to walk that far. But basically, I use all of these again because I really believe that using them as a foundational aspect to tea blends that I then add other things to. I start with these kinds of herbs. Maybe not so much the yellow dock root, but at least dandelion leaf, plantain, nettle, red clover. Those I start with. I'll also put chickweed and cleavers in it too as a base, and then add other things like mints or raspberry leaf or whatever else, hawthorn berry, whatever else, lemon balm, whatever else I happen to be doing, chamomile, things like that. You can just add other stuff to it. And then you have a lovely blend, a tea blend that's going to keep your body healthy and well and flushed out and balanced and nourished and all of that. Um, and that's really what they do. They can heal the body, protect the body in a natural and synergistic manner. I think that our bodies were born for this. We're born here on this earth, and we are of this earth just as the plants are, and there's no reason that we can't use them in a synergistic fashion to stay well, okay, and improve our lives basically. So anyhow, so remember, dandelion, red clover, plantain, yellow duck root, and nettle. Wonderful herbs, both internally and externally, to keep your body healthy, well, your blood purified, your liver cleansed, toxins released. So go gather your herbs and dig your roots if appropriate, but above all, align with their healing energies and allow them to bless and improve your health. So anyway, that's it for now. I think I'm going to do respiratory herbs next, given the season we're in. I don't have anything for you, though, specifically for COVID, other than, alleviating congestion and things like that. But again, you're going to want to talk to your doctor if you have COVID before adding anything else to whatever it is they're doing for you. This is a very difficult time with that, and things I can tell you to do for flus and like elderberry and all of that, I can't really tell you for COVID because we don't know. This is a very complex disease and it's going to take time. They're learning a lot. A lot of weird things are cropping up with it though, so we're going to need more time to know more about this, to really have a clear understanding of what we're dealing with. So I'm not going to talk about that at all. I don't think it would be responsible of me to do that, so I won't. But I will talk about respiratory herbs next time. But until then, please wear a mask when you're out and about around anyone at all. Don't just rely on a face shield alone. That's not preventing you from shedding virus out of your nose, out of your mouth, when you don't know you have it. Some people have it, don't even know they had it. It takes time and it's building, and you're shedding virus. You're contagious, that much I will say. And so a face shield alone is ridiculous. It's foolish. It's stupid. And businesses that still allow their personnel to wear just that alone, boy, oh boy, I wouldn't. In fact, there are places I won't even go now because that's all they do. So, again, wear a mask. If you do, it keeps, and wear it above the nose, not below. Don't wear it down here. It goes over the mouth, over the nose, and then it contains the virus. It has nowhere to go. And if you are ill, you stay home, you stay isolated. And again, it has nowhere to go. It burns out with you. That was the whole point of this. Not to tell you that you can't do this or that, but to make sure you do it safely and that you don't give it to someone else when you don't know you have it. Okay? Wear a mask. Face shield too if you want, but mask it. What does it say? Mask it or casket? Yeah. This is scary stuff. So anyhow, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.